Well, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. The moon is bright. Over there, it's not quite full. And I'm headed to work. As promised, we're going to go back up onto that roof. I've just been waiting for the temperature to drop into single digits, which it has now. It's now 9 degrees outside. At least that's what my thermometer says. So let's head back to the school and get up on the roof and see what we can find.
Buckle up for safety as I give you a day in the life of facilities maintenance.
Well, it's a lovely night up here. Nice bright moon to give me enough ambient light to see what I'm doing. So let's get started. I'm up on the roof. It is, it's probably about 25 after 2 right now. It's 8 degrees. It is a clear night. I've got about maybe 11 degree differential between what the temperature rose to today and where it's at now. So let's see if the thermal imaging camera picks up any heat traces under the roof deck. So just to give you an idea of the sensitivity, what you are seeing there is my case that I just took my camera out of. And there's a can of marking paint right there. They are sitting on top of the rooftop heater that is directly above my office. There's a vent, so we're not surprised to see warmth around that. So this might actually prove to be a little bit more difficult because of the variables involved. What you are seeing here, this pile of glowiness right there, that's the ballast or the rocks that are piled up, and they're showing much warmer because they're a pile of rocks and they're holding the heat in from earlier today, even though earlier today the sun went down 7 hours ago. And this is showing up as much darker because with no ballast present and a thin membrane, you're seeing cold spots. In fact, there are a few things going on here. With the ambient temperature being 8 degrees and the interior of the building being 19 or 20 degrees, mention in the comments why you might think the roof surface is showing below freezing temperatures at minus 2.3 degrees. So when you're doing this, you try and remove variables. One of the variables that I've removed is the sun, because I'm out here at nighttime, so I don't have to deal with direct sunlight or shadows or anything like that. One of the other variables that today afforded was no more standing water on the roof. But one variable that may interfere with what I'm trying to do here is this ballast. That could make things difficult. So I can't interpret what I'm seeing in the area where there's no ballast and use that as a comparison to what I see where there is ballast. I have to think of those things as two completely separate entities. But here's something interesting. This line right here, that looks like a split in the insulation, and heat from below is coming through. What I will do is grab my paint and I'll paint a line right there, and then I can check it for moisture tomorrow. So I think I'll do that. I'm going to put down my camera, the one that's recording this right now, and go along with my can of paint and my thermal camera, and using paint I'll mark out any anomalies that I see that I want to check out in the daylight. I don't know if you can see me from this distance, but I'm looking up the pathway where I moved the gravel away, heading towards the south, and I'm seeing a very thin, warm spot. I'm marking them out anyway, just in case it's worth checking. So let me show you this area here that I just marked out. I don't see anything in the actual membrane itself to indicate that water is leaking through it. However, the thermal imaging camera, let me turn the light off, or maybe you can see it. As I'm looking down the pathway to the south, it's not consistent. There are hot and cold patches all along the way, so there's something going on here. You know, it's wet under there, I think. But where I have that circled with orange paint, as I was walking down this pathway here, it definitely showed up as a lighter spot. Like, you see these lighter splotchy areas? Those could very well be wet spots underneath the membrane. Like those right there that look like a birthmark. That right there. Yeah, they're showing up from both directions. So it's possible that what we are seeing right here, this blotchiness, is water under the membrane. Thing is, how's that water getting there? Because I'm not seeing any holes in the membrane in this area. At least I didn't when I was looking in the daylight. Okay, I'm gonna keep looking. Well, unfortunately, any area that has ballast on it, that's a variable that's just messing me up here, because the ballast itself is holding so much heat that I can't see what's going on under it. You see there, those are the gas lines that are running across the surface of the roof. Or maybe there's no water leaking here, which is why I'm not seeing anything under the ballast. I mean, that could be possible as well. And all of our issues over here are coming from this area right up here. That's our rock right there in the little bullseye. The rock is my reference for where it's dripping below. I measured off the access hatch and up the hallway and all the rest of that. And that's where I landed with my rock. That glare is getting me here. If I hold this here, the rock in the bullseye is where I measured out where our leak was actually coming through. Looking at this right here, this big tangerine sitting right above the rock, I'm probably out by about 6 inches. Looking off to the east, I'm not seeing anything. And even looking off to the west, these lines that I'm seeing, I believe, are gaps in the insulation. And so if I had to make a more educated guess than I was able to make before, I would say that the water is coming from here. That spot right there in the bullseye is the first drain that I fixed on the roof here. So, did my thermal imaging camera answer all our questions? Maybe. I hope so. I hope it's pointed me in a direction that I can start looking to actually find the problem. But hey, thanks for joining me at now 3 in the morning. And I'm gonna go home and go to bed. Thanks for watching.